So we talked about whether or not monogamy was natural or not for human beings. And what we determined, this is in the last video on the topic, and what we determined was that really is that human beings have reproductive drives or needs, and that whether or not they were monogamous or polyamorous had more to do with the environment around them and the strategy that they needed to employ to solve their reproductive problem. Okay, so monogamy was a means to solve a reproductive problem during a particular time in history. The environmental conditions are no longer there for us to stimulate us solving the reproductive problems we have in that manner. All right, but as we determined in that video, you have to decide what you want. How do you want to solve your reproductive needs? Okay, how do you want to design your life? And so a lot of people choose monogamy as what they're pursuing to design their life and their relationships, which is perfectly fine. But you have to ask yourself a question. Is the partner that you're pursuing this goal with even capable of doing it? I'm Paul from Apex Mindset. Take your finger, slide it over to the subscribe button, hit subscribe, like the video. When you're done, I'm going to say some controversial things, so if you disagree, that's okay. Just throw it in the comments, and maybe I'll do future videos. Same with questions, all right? So let's talk about and I did a video, and I'll put it in the link on this, but is your partner even capable of being monogamous? So most of you listening to this are going to want to solve your reproductive problems through monogamy. That's fine. I'm not going to tell you what you need to do and how you need to live your life. I can help you get what you want, but just keep in mind, as I say to my clients, I'll help you get what you want, but you get what you ask for, okay? And so what you think you may make sure that when you're going for something that you want, that it's what you really want. And so assuming though, for this video and for this discussion, that you want monogamy and that you yourself are capable of it, okay? You have to ask yourself if your partner is. If the person you're getting involved with and deciding to get in a long-term relationship with in order to pursue a monogamous future together, is that person actually capable of being monogamous? And it's a very serious question because men and women, a lot of them are not capable of being monogamous. They have spent too much time, and you'll find actually that women are less capable than men when it comes to monogamy. And I'll say that again because it's controversial and you're not going to like it, but I don't care. It's the facts. Okay, the fact is that women are less capable, okay, less capable for being monogamous, all right, than men are. All right. But it doesn't mean all women can't be monogamous. So we'll explore it. And now first we'll look at, cheating rates. The rates of actual cheating are about, the same for men and women. However, women mate switch more often. So the current way that society is, the environment is stimulating most people to solve their reproductive problems through serial monogamy and open cuckoldry that is gynocentric in nature. Okay? And that monogamy is social monogamy, but it's sexual promiscuity for about half of those relationships within the relationship. So what does that mean? That means that women are sleeping around, they're having their whole years, okay, at some point, usually. They're having a series of boyfriends where they sleep with those boyfriends. So it's monogamy, 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 monogamy. So monogamy is really you pair bond with somebody, you sleep with that person, you don't plan to sleep with anybody else, and that you ride that out till somebody dies. Okay, that's what actual monogamy is. It's one person for the duration of your life. That is not what is being executed today. What's being executed today is serial monogamy, which means that you're getting into relationship after relationship. The open cuckoldry part is women are knocking out kids, usually during their whole years, okay, with some guy, and then expecting another man to take care of those kids later on. All right, so they get pregnant with the wrong dude and through a process of now being in monogamous relationships, they expect the next monogamous relationship to be with a guy who takes care of that child. And the reason it's open cuckoldry is because if the guy says, you know what, I don't want to date single mommies, I don't want to take care of another man's child, he is told he's a bad person in our society. So if he makes that choice for himself, most of society is going to say, oh, wow, you're a piece of crap for not taking care of some woman's kids that aren't your kids. And so that is why it's open cuckoldry. And then women discard men, okay, as when that man loses his utility and the relationship loses its flavor, then she's discarding him for what she hopes to be a better option. And so that is the reproductive strategy now that society is doing. That, however, ladies, you included, even though this is gynocentric, this is not a recipe for happiness for men or for women. So you have to design your life differently. You do not pursue monogamy thinking that it's going to work and then allow society and the outside environment to dictate the end results of your relationship. Because if you do that, then you're going to end up in a scenario, if you're a man, where you're devalued by some chick, you're taking care of some chick's kids, that aren't yours, you're bonding with those children, you're finding yourself, removed from that bond later when she moves on. Okay, that's what you're going to find. And you're going to be pretty unhappy. And women, you're going to find yourselves unhappy after the dick ride runs dry and you're approaching 40, you're past that, and there just aren't any good men left. Okay, you won't have somebody to be with, and you're going to be relatively alone, and your options are going to be not so good, okay, if you are executing the strategy. So, in the reports, the statistics show this. Women are reporting unhappiness at a much higher rate now than in the past, okay, whereas men, as they age, have more options than women do. I mean, it's just the fact. It's just the fact of the matter. So, this isn't good for anybody. So women, if you're getting in a relationship with a guy, okay, you have to ask yourself, is he capable of monogamy? And are you capable of being monogamous with him? So that's two questions you need to ask yourself if you're a woman. Because a lot of you women will settle with a guy that you make a compromise. You see that this guy's a good person and he's a good dad, a good provider, and then you settle with this dude but he's not your sexual best. He's not the best in all categories. Some ex in your past was. And you try to make it work in this relationship only to have it not work years down the line. Okay. So that's you ending it because you don't know what you're doing. All right, ladies. And so if that's you, and pay attention, guys, because this is what they do. All right. So if that's you, then you need to make sure that the guy that you are pursuing this monogamous thing with is somebody that you're going to want to be with 10 years later, 20 years later. That's a big commitment. So that means you don't get married right away. That means you don't say, well, Johnny needs a daddy, so I'm going to marry this person after 9 months. All right. That means that you take your time and especially if you have a child, you take a good couple of years. All right. To figure out if this man is capable, number one, and number two, if he's the guy that you're going to want to be with 10 years later. All right. And how can you know that? Well, you should know if he's checking all of the categories of your arousal and your sexual arousal, and your emotional arousal, as well as having the provider qualities. Okay. But if the guy is going to be capable of monogamy and capable of being it's a question of pair bonding. So that's the word. I'm going to keep forgetting to say it if I don't say it. So pair bonding. So whether it's a girl, a woman, or a man, you're vetting out to see if this person is capable of pair bonding. So what pair bonding is, that means that you get a chemical reaction when you're with this person, and then there's a negative chemical reaction when you're separated from this person. And that goes beyond the honeymoon stage. So during the honeymoon phase, because of the newness of a partner, there's always those happy chemicals. All right, especially when you first start having sex. Now, will those happy chemicals remain? Now, of course, there will be ups and downs. There will be a drop off at certain points, but can that person still get an oxytocin dump and a dopamine hit from being with you 10 years later, 5 years later, 2 years later? That is pair bonding. If they're capable of having that oxytocin and dopamine hit after the honeymoon phase is over, okay, and they're capable of having those hits for you, specifically for you, not just any person, then that's pair bonded. And so you're wondering whether we're looking at a male or female partner, is this person capable of pair bonding? Now, men are more capable of pair bonding than women are. I know it sounds terrible, but here's why, okay? Men have a core need to take care of a woman, all right? So a primal need is to spread seed everywhere, but a primal need is also to take care of the woman that's having the baby. This is why women and children get on the life raft first, okay? This is why we have those social conventions where men self-sacrifice. Men sacrifice themselves for vagina for a reason, because you're holding the baby. So your vagina is more valuable than his balls, okay? And so that's why he is designed to try to care for you, take care of you, which means he pair bonds to you. Women are not designed to take care of a man. Women are designed to have an exchange with the man for resources and genetic material. Okay. And so their design is to take care of a child. So women, not saying women can't pair bond with a man, but your driver is to take care of a child, not to take care of a man, whereas a man's driver is to take care of you. So that makes it easier for a man to pair bond. This is why men tend to do worse off in breakups. This is one of the reasons why women can mate switch so quickly. This is why things like Stockholm syndrome even exist. You know what I mean? Women can go to the next person very quickly compared to what a guy is capable of. All right. Um, Another thing is men are not looking for the better deal. So men are not hypergamous. So they're not going to mate switch because they found someone better. Men get what's called marriage goggles, and they will see you as hot 10 years later. You're still the hot, 20 something they met in their eyes and their mind. And it doesn't matter if they were with somebody that was hotter in their past or whatever. If they are pair bonded to you and get those chemical reactions from being with you, then he's okay. He doesn't need to mate switch. Now, the danger is whether or not he's going to cheat in the relationship, okay? So he could stay pair bonded to you and still cheat. That's the only thing about men. So men will cheat. And there's a funny Patrice O'Neill, one of my great comedian. He passed away, and I'll even link it in the video, where Patrice O'Neill is talking about a woman when she cheats, and how she has all his feelings and stuff for the guy, and then the guy's cheating on the drunk girl who's passed out behind a dumpster, and it's a funny bit, but it's kind of it illustrates a universal truth, is that any female is a sexual option to a male. Okay, because males are designed to spread seed, and so unless she is of same genetic material, like mom, grandma, child, something like that, a man is under the right set of circumstances will have sex with just about anybody, unless he just doesn't see them as genetically viable to have sex with, like a 600-pound woman or something like that. Okay, but in every case, every woman for a guy is a sexual option. That is a fact, and you know that, ladies, and guys, you know that too. For the most part, you are not friends with girls, guys. They're sexual options. You have to suspend your mating drive to befriend a girl, which is fine. You can do that, but that is a fact of biology. And so that is the only danger, is that men can be subject to physical cheating. So ladies, what you're looking for is a history of cheating and cheating sorts of behaviors within the relationship. And you look at that stuff before you get in too long or deep into a long-term relationship with this person, before you are planning your life around them, and before you're assuming that you're going to be together forever with this guy or whatever. You need to see if he is demonstrating the kinds of behavior that would allow him to spread seed and mate switch, because his drive is to spread seed. Now, his drive is actually for frequent and unlimited sexual access. So most guys who don't cheat are getting that access within their relationships or through pornography. Okay, I'm not saying it's a healthy way to do it, but that is what they're doing. And so, you know, it, and ladies, if you are in the relationship and you want to keep your monogamous relationship together, you need to have frequent sex. Okay, that's a fact of biology. If there's not frequent sex happening in that relationship, he is going to check out of the relationship because his genetic imperative is to have unlimited access to sex, because that is what his biological driver tells him to do. Now, he can have unlimited access to sex through multiple women, or he could have it through your vagina and other methods and tricks you have up your sleeve. That's going to be up to you. But if you want it to work, that's what you have to do. Now, I know that's like shocking and terrible for a lot of women. Like, oh my gosh, you mean I have to show up and do something? I have to do something to make my relationship work? I'm not just entitled and things just happen for me. I actually have to show up and do shit. Yes, you have to show up and do shit. And one of those things is drain his balls. Okay. So for a guy, for monogamy to work, he's got to have his balls drained. All right. Or he's not going to be happy, and he's going to escape, whether it's escaping up here and escaping into a computer screen, or whether, he's actually cheating. But when a man cheats, though, he's oftentimes not cheating with somebody who he sees as better than his sexual option at home, than his relationship. Guys just cheat because they spread seed, which is a danger that guys have. So you're going to look for behaviors that demonstrate that he's okay with not doing that, and that he's going to seek sexual variety and seek sexual access through you as a partner, and not through other women and elsewhere. Okay. And so that's what you're looking for, ladies. Now, men, you have a lot more shit to look for, because women are just not as capable as men are at maintaining monogamy. They might not cheat, but what they'll do is disregard and break the relationship and then mate switch. Okay. So the cheating is 50-50 between men and women, but the breakups happen from the females. So the women are the one who are destroying the monogamous relationship. Okay. 75% of divorces are initiated by women. Out of the 25% that are initiated by men, over half of those are initiated because the woman cheated. So women are the ones destroying monogamy, not men. All right, that's just a fact. All right, and it's because they're not white. They're even less wired for monogamy. So the environment around you really has to be conducive for her not to want to execute a hypergamous drive or a mate switching drive. All right, so how does it work? How is she possibly capable? Well, you got to look at, so again, women are hypergamous. They're always looking for the best deal. So no matter what happens, if you expect this relationship to last, men, you always have a burden of performance. There's never an opportunity to relax. You will always have to perform and be her best deal year after year, day after day. You'll have to be her best deal, sexually, emotionally, paternally, as far as taking care of kids, stuff like that, resources wise, creating that security, in your loyalty to her. Those things always have to be the best. All right. If any of those things falter and stop being the best deal, or she thinks there's a better deal somewhere else, she will not help but be able to look outward. Just like you look at every piece of ass that walks by because you want to spread seed, even if you lie to yourself and say you don't, she is going to start looking outward if you're failing in those areas. It's just a fact of the matter. Or if she just thinks she can do better. Okay. And so you got to look out for certain things for women. One is, women ruin their abilities to pair bond in our current state of affairs in society, because women go through hoe phases. Women, it is statistically, and I will put the data in the description because you guys don't want to believe me, and I get pushback at arguments from this. But when a woman's notch count goes up, she risks ruining the chemical reaction that she should have in a pair bonding experience. So when a woman sleeps with multiple men, she is epigenetically tapping into a polygamous driver. She is not tapping into other genetic characteristics that would cause her to be pair bonded and monogamous. So what she's practicing during her hoe years is polygamy. And it's a Russian roulette. A girl could sleep with 35 guys, 50 guys, and be okay pair bonding with you. For whatever reason, it didn't ruin that mechanism for her. There's something about her genetic characteristics, those experiences. She didn't ruin her ability to pair bond, which means that once the newness of the relationship goes away, okay, and you're done with the honeymoon phase, that means that she has those dopamine and those oxytocin hits at a powerful enough level where she is drawn to you still, even a year, 2 years, 10 years later. Okay. World War II grandma was still drawn to her husband because she didn't have a hoe phase. All right. Whereas girls today, okay, hoe phase tends to ruin that because the more sexual partners they have, the less the less severe, the less of a chemical reaction they have through those sexual acts and through those new partners. And so by the time they get to you, 50 dudes later, okay, it might be over for them, which means what that looks like is they're going to have all of the feelings of the new relationship. Things are going to start off great, and then her emotions are going to die out. They'll die out, could be 6 months to 2 years later. All right. The honeymoon phase is over. Once you start to get a little, in that comfort phase, her emotions will die out. That chemical reaction will die out much faster than it should. And now this is what the data shows. Okay. This is what the data shows because as the notch count goes up, all right, the reports, the percentages astronomically go up of women reporting unhappiness in monogamy, women reporting cheating, and women reporting initiating the breakup. So that's the fact. It correlates. The more notches, the more likely she's going to break up with you, cheat, or you know, just not be happy at all. Okay. And so that's the first thing you have to look at is did she ruin her pair bonding abilities? And so her sexual past can tell you some of those questions, but it's not clear though, because one woman could have had sex with 10 people, ruined her pair bonding abilities. Perhaps she was with the most alpha guy she could possibly get when she was younger, and you're just not that guy, and that ruins it. She can't pair bond with you in the same way. Or she could have slept with 30 guys and pair bonds with you just fine. So notch count is not a clear answer, but it's a warning sign. It's something to look at. But just knowing her number isn't enough. And knowing her number almost isn't even quite useful because, again, some could have a higher notch count and be just fine. Some have a lower notch count and they're not fine. So what you have to look at is the behavior. And what you're looking for is serial monogamy. If a girl has a history of cheating, that's one thing you look at. If she has a history of cheating, then she'll cheat on you. That's most likely the case. Okay. And so most likely she is not capable of monogamy if she handles her reproductive problems through cheating in monogamous relationships. All right. That's just the likelihood. You're probably not going to be different. All right. There's those off chances you might be, but it's doubtful. So there's that risk there. Now, if she's not a cheater, but she's a serial mate switcher. So that means she goes from relationship to relationship to relationship to relationship. Penis to penis to penis to penis to penis to penis to penis. No breaks. That is not a sign of somebody who has an ability to pair bond. Because if you have an ability to pair bond and you break up, what happens is you're sad. Okay? Because you're not getting the dopamine and oxytocin hits and those happy chemicals that you got from this individual. So this individual is no longer in your life. You go through chemical withdrawals. Now, a woman that just mate switches from dude to dude, she feels the chemical withdrawals when this guy goes away, and then she gets it from the next guy. It's just plug and play different guys, right? It doesn't. There is no discretion on that, and so that's a sign of somebody who cannot pair bond because they're not pair bonded to you. They're just pair bonded to the feelings of being in a love/sexual relationship. And it can very easily move on and switch on. Okay, so Serial monogamy, that's its sign. Serial cheating, an unwillingness to set boundaries with other men. Okay, that means so women, they hate, their hindbrain hates um putting restrictions on their own hypergamous nature. So their hypergamous nature is to mate switch with someone better than you. They hate having to put any restrictions on that. Okay, when they have to put a restriction on that, their chimpanzee brain goes, oh, don't do that because then what if, right? And so then it's like all these bad feelings of that happen for them when they have to do that. Now, somebody who can pair bond with you, though, is so into you and they get such a big chemical reaction from being with you that they just don't do these mate switching type of behaviors. So they're not on social media signaling to all the guys out there. They're not having inappropriate friendships with dudes. They're not hanging out with guys they used to have sex with, and keeping male orbiters around and doing all of these things and keeping these doors open that women who have a compromised ability to pair bond do. So women who can't pair bond or have that compromised ability are not going to get enough of a chemical reaction from you. So they're instead going to seek out getting that chemical reaction and that validation from other men. And so if you're in a dating scenario, okay, she's a plate, she's somebody you're seeing, you're not committed, and she wants the commitment, but she never grows to a point where she's putting more effort into you, putting more time into you, wanting to be closer, wanting to be with you. And she's seeking validation externally outside of you all the time. That means you're just not her best option, okay, which means she won't pair bond to you, which means monogamy won't work, or it means that she just doesn't have the ability to pair bond because she's ruined those mechanisms. So you could be the best guy on earth, and all of the wants of wanting to be with you like that just doesn't happen for her because she doesn't get the chemical reaction. So she chases the chemical reaction from other men. Okay. So so that's we the other point is, if they've been with a guy that was they perceived as more alpha, better in bed, better for them sexually, any of that stuff, monogamy will not work with you. Okay, we know that from strategic pluralism, which is evolutionary biological theory that states that women will want to mate with the most genetically viable, so they'll be most aroused sexually by the best genetic option, but they will settle with the resource provider. Okay, that's the alpha seed beta need model. Okay, in strategic pluralism. Um, if you are not the alpha seed, monogamy will not work. Okay, if you're a beta provider, she will not be monogamous with you because she will not have those feelings that she should have to be with you. All right, she wants to have those feelings with her sexual best. If her sexual best was Chad, you know, Thunderschlagen when she was 18, 19 years old, and you're now 42, and she's been through a marriage and and had a few kids, and now you guys are going to try to plan a life together. If you're not as good for her as Chad Thunderschlagen was, or whatever his name was I made up in my head, if you're not as good for her, right, she can't pair bond to you, dude. Not really. She'll like you, she'll love you, she'll want to be with you, she'll try to plan a life with you because you're the best she can do for right now. You're the right now guy, but because you're not the best she's ever done, her hypergamous mind won't allow it. And this is called being an alpha widow. I've done videos on the alpha widow thing. So all in all, like when we look at the list, women have way more of a compromised ability to pair bond and to be monogamous in our society that we're in. Women have, oh, and then the other part too is who is getting the rewards for breaking the relationship. That's something we need to look at too. If it's a marriage and kids are involved, certainly not every single time. Sometimes women do get screwed over in divorces. But more often than not, statistically speaking, she gets money, prizes, a house, and custody. Okay. And so when you're looking when a hypergamous mind, a hypergamous mating drive is supporting you to go for the best deal, and the state says, okay, cool, here's the best deal. If you divorce this guy who you're not that excited about anymore, you can go live your best life, bang a busboy in Greece on your Eat, Pray, Love tour, and he's going to pay for it with alimony, child support, and you'll have, in the house and all that stuff. I mean, if that's what the state is allowing for, and their brains are already wired, okay, to look for the best deal and to be drawn towards that, you can't expect monogamy is very much compromised, okay, for you as a male. So I'm not saying don't do monogamy. I know it sounds bad, but I'm saying that if you're going to do it, and if you're going to make a commitment to somebody, and men, if you're going to commit your resources, your time, and your future plans and your emotions into somebody, and you too, ladies, if you're going to commit to a guy, a lot of you ladies love going with um, anyone with a personality disorder or mental disorder has a compromised ability to pair bond and to be monogamous. So, my series I'm doing on Fridays, your borderline personality disorders, your narcissistic personalities, your antisocials, your psychopathic traits, all of those, your dark triad types, women, men, these are people that you will likely screw you over in a relationship. Okay. And so women, you love going for those guys. It's like your favorite thing to do. And so if you're going for a guy who's like a narcissist or antisocial, has a criminal record, you're like your bad boy, whatever. Okay, he's probably not going to pair bond. He probably doesn't have the ability to pair bond with you. You're not going to have this monogamous scenario with him. Okay, and so your choices, particularly ladies, your choices of mates, those can compromise your ability to pair bond later. So if you want to be monogamous later, you have to guard your behavior. You have to guard who you're having sex with. Don't do hoe phases. Don't do serial monogamy. Take a dick break. Okay? Like, because if you are doing that kind of stuff, you're not feeding the drivers for a monogamous or committed lifestyle with somebody. There's a ton of benefits to being in a committed lifestyle with a partner long term. There's financial benefits, resource benefits, emotional benefits, benefits when it comes to child rearing, societal benefits. There's no question that monogamy, or at least some version of a commitment, is there's no question that is a better model than just mate switching and serial in the current model that society promotes. Okay, there's no question that your happiness will be secured better in some sort of a committed model. Okay, I mean, I make that argument, particularly if you're a woman. All right, even more so. Guys can actually mate switch till they die. All right, it seems like, but women, I mean, really, and actually both of you. I mean, if you want that lifestyle and those benefits, you have to do things to get them. You have to do them in the relationship. You have to do them outside, and the things you're doing outside has to do with your selection. Okay. So Rich Cooper has got a book coming out. He's got red flags listed there. If you're a man, all right, look at these red flags, because a lot of these red flags indicate an inability to pair bond, which means you'll put your resources, time, effort into a long-term relationship with them, and then they're going to discard you. Now, I don't have a book for women necessarily, but you can just look at, ladies, you can just look at my video series on Fridays, because we're going to be talking about dark triad and cluster B personality disorder traits. Men generally have a better ability to pair bond, even though they'll kind of cheat with somebody who's garbage chick. Okay, men cheat because that's their drive and that's a problem, but they are still pair bonded to you even if they do it. I'm not saying they should cheat. That's not good. If they've made the commitment, they need to keep it. The state of their word, I believe that. But, you know, that's another good point, by the way, to bring up here. When women cheat on men, it's because they see something in the man they're cheating with as better than the current guy they're with, because it's a hypergamous move. That is most of the time, unless they are personality disorder, then it's just a clusterfuck. or if they are revenge cheating. That's another thing. Revenge cheating is a thing. In either sense, it's a cuckoldry thing, which is a topic for another video. But women cuck dudes, they get off on it. It's a driver for them to do it. And when women see a guy, even if she's drunk and it was an accident, at the time she was drunk and having that accident and having that accidental penis go into her body, and she's breaking the monogamous commitment, at that time, she sees that guy as better than you, okay, in some manner or fashion. And if she sees another man as better than you, gentlemen, okay, then she will never respect you and she will not love you. That's what hypergamy is. That's their curse. That is what that is. So when guys cheat, they cheat with somebody, okay, a lot of times they don't put that person up at a higher value than their partner. Doesn't make it right, but this is true. And this is why women will tell you, and statistics show this, that women are less threatened by a guy sexually cheating, but a lot more threatened by an emotional connection, right? Because women know that guys can just put their dick in things, okay, and be like, and that's just shit, that's just a mating imperative for guys, and it doesn't mean anything to them. But when women do that cheating, okay, this is why guys are more threatened by a sexual cheat and less threatened by the emotional one. Because when women make a sexual decision to be with a guy, it's because she sees that guy as better most of the time. Again, unless it is she's angry at an alpha male and she is revenge cheating. So revenge cheating is the only exception. But if it's not a revenge cheat, which is not most of the scenarios that women cheat, she is going with someone that she thinks is better. And if she thinks that guy is better in a hypergamous sense, a guy she can get because he's having sex with her, yeah, she won't respect or love her partner. She will fall out of love with that partner, okay? And I'm not saying that couples never recover from cheating. I'm not saying, but I will say this. Couples do recover from male cheating a lot more often, okay, than they recover from female cheating. And the recovery isn't even a real recovery a lot of times because she just doesn't respect or have that same arousal for her partner when she's making that choice to be with someone else. That is the ultimate demonstration of, I think this guy is better and can supply me with sexual gratification that my current partner cannot. All right. Or when a guy makes, again, I know I'm repeating myself a lot, but when a guy makes that decision, it's because, I don't know, she was there. You know what I'm saying? Like I'll refer back to that Patrice O'Neill joke. I mean, and that's the downfall of men's sexual strategy. But again, what that translates to is that, and guys, you need to understand, you want to pursue this monogamous strategy. Okay, cool, that's fine. There's a bunch of if that's how you want to, if monogamy is how you want to solve your reproductive problem, then that's okay. Okay, a lot of you are religious and that's what you believe in, and I'm not going to tell you not to do that. And there are certainly a lot of benefits to it if you can be successful. But you have to understand that only about 6% from study that Rich had, guy I'm going to reference and put in the comments or put in the description, from that study, it's like 6% that are happy in all categories, okay, in a monogamous relationship. And the reason why is because it's two reasons. One is you're not creating the environment around yourself for monogamy to work. All right. That's the number one reason. But a number two reason, and it's a real close number two, is that the person you're getting involved with is just not capable of being monogamous. Okay. And there's a lot of women who aren't necessarily cheaters, but they're mate switchers, and they don't have the chemical reaction they should have that would make them a good monogamous partner. So they will mate switch, they will discard you. And if they don't do those things, you know what a lot of times happens is they just check out up here. They're not in the relationship anymore, mentally, emotionally, because they're just not capable. They're not capable. After they need that variety, they need it, and without the variety, the sexual variety, they just can't be happy because they've ruined those pair bonding chemical reactions. All right. And so you have to make sure when you pick a partner that your partner's capable. You can't achieve this vision you have for yourself, for how you want to solve your reproductive problem and how you want your relationship life to look like, if the partner you pick is not capable of having and achieving that vision with you. Okay, so that message goes to you men and goes to you women. Excuse me. And it's a long video. I hope you enjoyed it. Okay, there's a lot here, a lot of research, a lot of truth bombs. I hope that you ladies aren't going to be too outraged about the facts. Okay, I'm not saying that women can't pair bond. That's certainly not what I'm saying. But women have a lot more restrictions. Okay, a lot more hurdles to overcome when it comes to pair bonding. A lot more things for a woman in her primal drivers get in the way for her. Okay, so you have to figure out, and I can help you. That's what I do. So I'm a coach. I can coach your relationship. I can coach you on your mindset and behavior. But you have to figure out how to design your life and your relationship in order to achieve the goal you want. If it's monogamy, you got to design the external factors around that relationship so you achieve it and you're not feeding polyamorous drivers. Okay. But and again, all of the design in the world and all of the desire in the world makes no difference if your partner is not capable. And that's why vetting during the dating process, which should be a long process, okay, is so important before you start putting your resources and your investment into a future with that person. Thanks again for sticking with me if you made it to the end. Occasionally, I'm going to do these longer ones to really dive into a topic deep because I know that there's quite a few of my viewers that like that stuff. All right. So if you got questions, throw them in the comments, share with your friends, like it, subscribe, all that good stuff. Thanks for your support, and I'll talk to you later.